tackle time, 9:30 in the morning.
My name is Danny, and I'm a member of the Dirtbag Garage.
The Dirtbag Garage is just a group of friends that, well, brotherhood now. We enjoy off-roading, we're all like-minded. We chose the Dirtbag Garage name because of some of the shenanigans that we get into at the campsites. We like to kick up dust and have a good time. Some might say it's kind of crude humor or crude behavior.
We try to get together as a group prior to runs and organize exactly what we're doing. Of course, when we've been to a place, a lot of times, we do a little bit more drinking than organizing.
So we come out here and just enjoy each other's company, shoot the breeze, and like I said, it's always a good time with these guys.
I mean, yeah, we're just a bunch of goofy guys that just have a great time doing what we do.
Most thing I like about the Dirtbags is, you know, I could definitely be myself, which is awesome.
It's not only just about wheeling, but we also have fun together just being friends.
We enjoy being in the dirt and we act like dirtbags. The Dirtbag Garage.
Today we're doing Valley of the Moon Trail. It is on the southeast corner of San Diego County, just north of Mexico. My favorite thing about Valley of the Moon is, even though it's a small area, there's so many challenging trails for most levels of off-roading. It's probably one of the best off-road schools anybody can think of. Once you've been able to do all of Valley of the Moon successfully, you'll feel much more comfortable everywhere else. It's a great place for your spotters to learn how to spot. It's a great place for people who are doing their first runs to do some of the easier offshoots. And it's absolutely breathtaking out there. It just blows your mind how much the landscape changes, how large the boulders are, how challenging some of it is, and how little people know about it. The trail that we'll be doing today is probably a little bit over 4 hours of off-roading. And then we're gonna finish the day watching the sunset at Elliott Mine before we go to camp.
Busy, busy people, settle down. Take a second and breathe on your hustle through the busy town. Try to relax for a minute as I sing to you now. I'll take your worries away. Listen to me when I say. Slow on down.
We started at the bottom of the back entrance, which is the entrance to the gatekeeper. It's the most challenging obstacle out there for several reasons. First, it gets into your head. You have to make it up this thing. There's no backing up. What you just drove, you do not want to back up. It's a really long way to back down. So it's already playing games with your head to begin with. Then once you get there, you have this waterfall. It's about a 4.5, almost a 5-foot waterfall that you have to get up with a huge boulder on the left and a very tight boulder on your right-hand side. And what happens when you get there is it plays tricks on you a little bit. You have to scout it out quite a bit. It makes you feel like you need to do a lot of turning when in fact, the best line is to be on the right line to begin with and just go straight the entire way. And if you keep that line and you keep it well, you make it up the obstacle hopefully the first time. If you don't, then again, the obstacle starts pivoting your vehicle towards that sheer cliff on your right-hand side, which is straight down.
You're lined up perfect, you're gonna come straight at me. I don't think you're gonna be doing it.
If you're on the obstacle and you don't pay attention to how your truck's being pivoted by the obstacle, then you're literally on the edge of a sheer, about 200-yard drop. And that makes people extremely nervous. As you're getting over the gatekeeper, the first thing you see is nothing but blue sky.
Let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go.
And then hopefully a couple of spotters. Then as soon as you get to the top of the gatekeeper, it's flat. Then you realize quickly that you hope everybody makes it up it because it's extremely tight to turn around if you need to winch anybody up or anybody has a breakdown.
Yo, what the heck, man?
So as we're going up the road to the gatekeeper, we ended up finding out that one of the guys in the group had broken down.
If he's leaking brake fluid, that means his brakes are out.
And we knew we had a little situation.
Front tire caliper's bleeding a lot. The tie rod on the front driver's bent.
So at that point, we had absolutely no idea if we were going to be able to move his truck out of the way, how bad it was, and if we were going to be able to drive through.
The location where Tony was stuck was not a good location. It was right past the gatekeeper, and there's no way you could back up.
He's got a winch and just wrap the synthetic line right here. And just...
We're going to bring the rest of the group up and line us all up here. Once we're all lined up here, the guy in the front, Lee, has a winch. So what we need to do is actually turn him around here so he can back up and he can be face to face with the 4Runner, so that with the winch we can really slowly unbend his tie rod.
So are we winching it from that end?
The only
that
thing
way?
is, I will tell you,
What we did to fix his truck, we put another truck next to him. So we had one truck in front of Tony, one truck next to Tony.
And we fed the winch line towards the truck parked next to Tony, made a 90-degree angle with that winch line, and then wrapped it around Tony's tire.
And the line was running from the front truck to Tony's rig and going through the sliders to actually straighten the tie rod out.
And just started pulling the winch line and basically straighten out the wheels like that.
And it straightened out perfectly, we thought. As soon as he started driving, literally maybe 20 yards.
The tie rod bent again.
At that point, it became a major issue because we needed to get every other truck through there. He was ahead of about 6 trucks. So what we did is we forcefully drove it forward a little bit further until we were able to get it just enough, far enough off trail to actually leave the truck there overnight.
There was no way we could fix it at that time. We needed new parts and, you know, stuff we didn't have at the time, so we threw in the towel.
He grabbed his sleeping bag, and that's all he took with him.
Deep inside the valley, high up on the mountain, no matter where I'm going, my Toyota keeps me rolling. Out the window.
So we're a club of Toyotas, and Toyota's what brought us together. We love our Toyotas because of reliability. They're not the fastest vehicles on the road, but by far they're the most reliable. And we push them to their limits. And as far as we've pushed them to their limits, they've always made us happy.
Driving my Toyota, anywhere I wanna go, yeah.
You know, we run in the Jeeps on the trail, and I see the looks that they give us. You know, out of respect, we wave, but then, you know, once they've dropped that hand, they got this look on their face like, oh, look at these guys with their little Hot Wheel trucks, you know, just kicking up dust, just not giving a rip.
T-leaves on my bumper, yeah, my sub's a thumper. I'm taking up 2 parking spots.
So the Jeep guys love to say about Toyotas that we're all a bunch of 20-year-old kids out there doing donuts and drinking beer. We do a lot of donuts and we drink a lot of beer. But at the end of the day, we all respect the trails and we haul out a lot more than we haul in.
You know, we're all out there, I think, for the same reason. You know, we just want to kind of connect with nature and get out there and have fun off-roading our vehicles. Doesn't matter what it is, a Isuzu, you know, a Suzuki Samurai, a Jeep.
No matter what you're driving, whether it's a Jeep, a Toyota, Ford, we love to get out there, say hi to everybody that's out there on trails.
We have fun, but we make sure that we tread lightly, pick up all our trash, and just leave the place cleaner than what it was when we got there. You know, we love the outdoors, so we don't want to ruin that. We don't want to give anybody any more reasons to shut down public lands and our trails.
It is right, man. We will beach.
Look, see that line right there where that
that tire set?
Just past the gatekeeper, it wasn't very long until we got to the second obstacle.
The driver tire right there.
The second obstacle is a really wide waterfall that's probably about 3.5 feet tall. The key to getting up the obstacle is to get your front wheels over the obstacle, and then once your rear wheels touch the obstacle, you gotta bump it. You gotta bump it hard. But you gotta be careful, because if you bump it too hard and your truck starts jumping, which it can do there very easily, it's really easy to break an axle or anything else. Several of us made it up the obstacle, and it was a challenge. We all spun tires quite a bit. Any of us that had lockers definitely had them on, and still was a challenge, but we made it up it. And then Lee came.
Lee is definitely one of the better drivers in our crew.
He's not only got a lot of experience, but he has a very well-built truck. But,
you know, he always attacks obstacles pretty rough, and he never breaks anything.
Lee took the harder line, and he made it up the first part of the obstacle very easily, or the front part of his truck made it up the obstacle very easy. Then once he started completing the rest of the obstacle, the truck started bouncing around quite a bit.
The truck started hopping like crazy. His rear end got like 3 feet off the ground. Dust everywhere. You just hear a boom and it went silent. And when the dust cleared, we're all trying to calm down, and yes, just saw the drive shaft just hanging there.
Yep. So we're a quarter of the way into the trail, and we already have 2 major breakdowns. We go to Valley of the Moon all the time and not break anything. I was really that he was. Okay, let me think. The day definitely wasn't going the way that we expected.
Drive shaft's gone. Your drive shaft's
gone. Well, you can see his drive shaft literally just snapped.
You know, it happens. It happens.
Back you down and you go around.
Stuff happens on the trail. You know, Lee got a little too throttle happy, so we gave him a lot of crap for that. You know, and it's the memories. You know, we're creating memories. Later on, we're gonna look back and we're gonna laugh at it, and it's. At the end of the day, it really all just brings us closer.
So we used some straps to actually hold the drive shaft up to get him off of the obstacle.
We just backed him off the obstacle, dragged him off to the side. He still had front wheel drive, so he was still somewhat mobile under his own power. We just got him off to the side of the trail, started working, well, Oscar and Lee started working on the truck. I was a little busy eating my chips and dip. But things were taking so long, I wasn't sure what was taking them so long, and they weren't making any progress. So I went over there, make sure they weren't, you know, lollygagging, and nothing had been done. So I got underneath the truck, and within like 15, 20 minutes, I had the whole drive shaft out.
The decision was made to remove his drive shaft completely. And then he was in 2-wheel drive for the rest of the day, which meant only his front wheel drive was working, and these trucks aren't meant to be in front wheel drive. It makes it extremely difficult to get up any obstacle, even something small.
All right, just stop right there and we'll pull you up.
So I offered to winch him. I got in my truck, turned it around, and put it in position to winch him up the bypass.
All right, here we go, tension on. Easy on the gas, easy on the gas. It's coming up.
As I was winching him up, he started bouncing a little bit. And I told him on the radio, stop, you're gonna break the winch. I said, just leave your foot off the gas or just touch the pedal. And for the second time, boom, 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 his truck started jumping.
Nothing?
And I smelled a burnt clutch on the winch.
What am I smelling? What am I smelling? Open that hood, let's
the winch.
Let's figure it out.
got out, took a look, and my winch was broke.
Bouncing will break the winch motor. He just needs to be patient.
As I come up, I just can't get enough traction. It's only on my front 2 wheels. My rear wheels are not moving at all. There was no drive shaft. So right now, 2-wheel drive up front, trying to grab onto whatever I can. And we'll see what some little throttle can do. Guess that didn't work. I have to get pulled up by a strap.
With 2-wheel, front-wheel drive only, it almost makes it impossible to make it through the rest of the trail.
Yeah, go past the Land Cruiser, I'll come back and get them.
There are a lot of uphills that, though they're not obstacles, impossible to make it up without being towed.
All right, Oscar, it's gonna be me and you with all the communication.
So we ended up having to tow him for the rest of the day.
Let's get the convoy moving.
Oscar was the one that had the honors to drag him through the rest of the trail and all those obstacles.
Oscar, with his classic Land Cruiser, was the truck that we decided to have tow Lee back to camp.
Oscar, everything okay?
I'm gonna try to get some more slack out of it so you don't run over the cable.
All right, cool.
So he towed Lee the rest of the way back to camp, and he pulled him through no problem.
If somebody in the group breaks down, the whole group stops. You don't have to worry about getting left behind. The whole group is gonna stop and gonna help out. We have guys that are pretty good at that sort of stuff, wrenching and sort of MacGyver stuff, because sometimes you have to work some magic while you're on the trails and just kind of really MacGyver things. I think everybody in the crew feels comfortable knowing that we're gonna do everything that we can to get you off the trail safely. And if it means leaving your truck behind for a night, then so be it, you know, it happens.
This is something we do in the Dirtbag Garage. When nobody's looking, stick on the rigs.
Well, one of the dirtbag traditions that I believe Rick began was putting stickers on vehicles that are extremely difficult to find, but we do find them at some point. Rick's goal with the whole thing is to actually hide them so well that hopefully we never find them. Originally, he was the only one who thought it was very funny, but now we definitely all seem to look forward to the tradition of finding Rick stickers somewhere where they don't belong.
Ryan, that's what you get for being late.
We all think it's really funny.
This is the place you go when you wanna take it slow. Slow your body down.
We see the Border Patrol out here all the time. We definitely feel a lot safer when they're around. We always like to let them know how many trucks we are, what we have with us. We usually have weapons. We let them know that so that they know who's back there, what we're up to, and that really has us, you know, work well together with them.
Yeah, if you look to the right, there's a red barbed wire fence about 4 feet tall, and that is the border. If you come up here a few feet, you'll actually see some parts completely falling over.
There's a lot of sections on the trail that run right along the US-Mexican border. The sections that are flat before we go on trail have a wall, and then once we go on trail and kind of get into the mountainous terrain, there's no more wall, it's just fencing.
You know, earlier driving down, we saw the big wall. You know, here you don't even see that. It's just barbed wire fence and some wrought iron, you know, sticking up. Sometimes it's not even there. The barbed wire is just completely flat, but it is what it is.
Camping at Valley of the Moon overnight is one of the most beautiful experiences you could have. The reason we all off-road and the reason we all go out to these places is because it's a spiritual place that really realigns us, gets us ready for the next week, puts everything back home away and allows us to enjoy not only ourselves as friends, but the place that we're looking at. And what it makes us feel when we're there after having a long week of work and planning these trips and making the time to spend time with your best friends is enjoying its energy, feeling how it re-energizes you and gets you ready for the following week.
That's the key thing about, for me, is these camping trips, to get out, disconnect, completely disconnect, and really let yourself be who you are. You forget about the bills, you forget about paying your mortgage, you forget about your 9 to 5. It's a hard restart. So by Monday, you'll start with a clean slate, ready to get to the weekend and do it all over again.
In this crazy world, everyone is trying to stay on the beat. We're chasing something better even when we have all we need. When the future makes you worry and the past only brings regret, just close your eyes and breathe. Know it's only in your head.
3/4 of the way through the trail, we hit a difficult section. It's a nice long downhill, but it's rocky and it's pretty brutal. It's really steep. It's really rutted. There's a couple of different lines you can take. There's no easier line, but there are some that are just a little bit more challenging than the others. That section is one of the really fun sections where you can kind of stop in a couple of spots and see a lot of what the other trucks are doing. The guys in front of you, the guys behind you, the whole group is together there.
Slow on down.
When I'm out off-roading with these guys, run into some risky situations, but never do I feel like I'm really in danger. We've got each other's backs. You know, we got great spotters in the crew. We know our limits as drivers and as a crew, and we work so well together. Even if stuff goes bad, parts break, you know, stuff happens when you're off-road, but never once have I felt like I was in danger or scared. I always feel safe, and we make sure that everybody gets home safe and has a good time.
One of our favorite things about the campground, the actual place where we camp at, is there's an obstacle to get into it. It's not a major obstacle for vehicles that are experienced, but it's an obstacle that most vehicles can't make it up if they're not careful, if they don't know what they're doing, if they're not getting spotted. And that's what keeps the Priuses out of our campground. We finally got into camp, and part of the group that got ahead of us had already got dinner started. It smelled great when we got there, and it's exactly what we all needed after a very long day. Our plan was to go in, drop off Lee's truck, get our group together again, and go up to Elliott Mine. Is this your But the food smelled really good, and tacos kind of took precedence at that point. And that's really all we could think of once we got there, was the tacos. So we're headed up to Elliott Mine just to look around. There's a few mines in there. So we're gonna have a few options once we get up there, but man, it's a fun ride up.
God damn, Eric!
The road up to Elliott Mine is really narrow, really steep, and if you're not paying attention, there's a couple of spots where the road's actually gone from a lot of recent rains. It's really easy to get part of your tire off, completely off of the edge, and there's 200 to 300 yard drops.
Once you get to the top, it's a beautiful view, and there's some really cool mine shafts up there that you can explore.
It's a parasympathetic medication.
Check out the shaft to the left, because I think it ends right there, and then you just scratch it. You know what I mean?
Everybody was having a great time. A few of the guys decided to jump on their roof racks and start dancing around in them like stripper poles.
That's smooth, man. Hey, bro, how much do you weigh? How do you...
We like to let loose and be ourselves and you know, enjoying ourselves and just making each other laugh. That's the sort of stuff that we do, I think, that makes us dirtbags.
As we're all, you know, kind of celebrating the day that we've had so far, we all started singing happy birthday, and it was not his birthday at all.
Ryan just started singing happy birthday. Happy birthday, Gomez.
Happy birthday, Gomez!
I think for a minute there, we got him believing it was because we stuck to it. sang happy birthday, and we all gave him birthday hugs after.
They had sang happy birthday so many times that they had me convinced. I felt 21 again.
Waking up to a brand new day, I'm feeling good and I'm on my way. Got people to see and places to go. I follow my heart cause it always knows good times coming. You got
We're on our way to Tony's Forerunner. We're gonna work on it. We're gonna swap out the tie rod. One of his buddies, Omar, came out yesterday with the new part.
Tony called me last night. He was in trouble. You know, he broke a tie rod on the trail. So, you know, put some tools in my truck and then just came out here to the trailhead.
Omar dropped everything he was doing, jumped into action, went to Napa Auto Parts, picked up the tie rod, drove all the way out to Jacumba. He kind of saved the day, really. I replaced the tie rod, and I'm glad that went pretty smooth because everything else seemed to not be going smooth. I got all dirty in the dirt, got thorns in my backside. We partied the night before, and I did not feel good that Sunday morning.
I could still fall asleep right now.
A couple of the guys can tell you I was pretty sick. You know, at the end of the day, we took care of Tony, and we got him back on the road. There's no way I'm gonna leave any of these guys behind, no way. So I know they would do the exact same for me. At the end of the day, all jokes aside, we really care about each other a lot, and we're just brothers. We're a family.
The Dirtbag Garage is a family, and recently we just lost one of our brothers. It's been extremely difficult for everybody because he was such an important part of everybody's lives. Jerome is somebody who everybody could speak with, everybody looked up to, everybody saw him as a very calm figure between the group.
Yeah, I'm very grateful to have known Jerome. You know, the Dirtbag Garage is certainly a family. We as a crew stepped up to help his family because he's done so much for us. It's the least that we can do.
We're all ready to celebrate his life. What he has done for us and left with us was, one, to take care of each other like brothers, like the brothers that we are, and two, to remember him and to remember what he left behind, which was to take care of ourselves, take care of our families, and care about each other.
Watching, you'll see everything's gonna be alright.